and we're going to discuss a developing story. US right-leaning activist Charlie Kirk has been murdered. This occurred in Utah, where he was in front of a large audience and was shot. A single bullet, apparently to his neck, caused him to be killed. This is very significant, as we'll discuss with my guest today, because he himself was a massive advocate for free speech and also a big supporter of Donald Trump's. Indeed, they were good friends. He was 31 years old. He leaves a grieving partner and also a child, I believe one child. Charlie Kirk, pictured here, was committing the crime of speaking about his views in a university environment, and he's paid for it with his life. Increasingly, we see politically motivated murders, or do we? Has it increased? Or is it just the perception that we have, potentially, because there is 24-hour news coverage and cameras are everywhere? One thing's for sure, America has a gun problem. Over 30,000 people get killed every year with gunshot wounds. Interestingly, roughly half of those are self-inflicted and the other half are homicides. Well, Charlie Kirk has fallen victim to that same method of being killed. What's going on in America? Why did this happen? And is there anything they can do about it? Joining me now from the United States is unprecedented US political correspondent, John Fine. John, thanks for joining us on what's a pretty grim week for news. First of all, what do you know, and this story will of course develop quite quickly, but what do you know of events that led to his killing?
Well, at the moment, they really don't know what. They're still saying that there's no apparent motive behind it other than just a person who is obviously had lost all humanism in himself and decided to shoot a very, very great man here in the United States. I mean, I was literally in tears when I first found out. I'm still extremely upset over it because he was a big man here, a really big activist for the Conservative Party and a good friend of Donald Trump's. He does have two children, by the way, a boy and a girl, and a lovely wife. And I just feel so sorry for that family. And Charlie Kirk was also a big Christian. And that's the good news here, is that I know that he has gone to meet Christ, and now he can be a voice for us there, you know. But it's just so sad because he was such a young man and he has done so much good in his life for the America, and he was loved by millions, literally millions and millions of Americans across the whole country. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a big loss for our country.
I'm not surprised that you're distressed, John. I have to say I'm very moved myself as a very keen advocate of freedom of expression. Indeed, that's pretty much why I got involved in politics. To see someone gunned down for having the audacity to speak his mind and to be willing to engage in public debate is utterly, utterly unforgivable. More than that, he was attempting to answer questions at the point of his death. There is more than one video which graphically features his shooting. We at Unprecedented have chosen not to broadcast that because of respect for his family. It's obviously a very graphic video. It doesn't leave anything to the imagination. And it's quite clear that the single gunshot took his life. Let's see how the terrible news was broadcast in the United States.
Let me interrupt you, Vaughn, but please stay on the line. Donald Trump has just posted on his social media platform, Truth Social, the following, quote, "The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you." Again, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, just posting on his social media platform news that Charlie Kirk, conservative activist, has died in today's shooting. Vaughn Hilliard, your reaction?
This is not a good moment for us as America, for our engagement and our ability to have very difficult discussions. This is somebody who was a father, a husband, somebody who I think that we must note at this moment in time, Nicole, was there today on a college campus inviting people to take a microphone and debate him. And this is somebody who welcomed, you could call it an exchange of thoughts, you can call it a debate, you can call it what you want, but this is somebody who took a microphone today and was shot well on a college campus, engaging in the First Amendment right to be able to speak freely. And he was targeted. And this comes a year after Donald Trump was targeted and nearly killed. This comes a month after Melissa Hortman was assassinated in Minnesota. This is it's a difficult moment to immediately react to, Nicole. I will say that where we find ourselves as a country here over the last 10 years is one in which the bitter division of our politics has led to a rise in violence.
That seems to be the essence of the situation, John. Fine. We haven't had time to look at the actual figures, but there is this sense that political violence has become very prominent in America's world, where you've had these attempted assassinations of the current president now, Donald Trump, who was twice the subject of an assassination attempt, one of which nearly worked. Now we have his close friend, Charlie Kirk, actually gunned down. Why is this happening?
Well, the biggest reason is, and I hate to say, is because key leadership in the Democratic Party. And the problem is they started back when they were trying to keep Obama in office, and it was actually looking like he may not make it because he was actually falling in the polls a little bit. And they started to create a false narrative of hate. And a lot of it had to deal with racism and whatnot, because, everybody's like, oh, racism's strong in America. No, racism had been eliminated in America. Martin Luther King Jr. and all the work that he did had pretty much the movement from him on forward had pretty much eliminated almost all racism in America. At one point, an extreme racist group called the KKK was almost non-existent, and then, like I said, the Democrats started pushing these here and on social media and everywhere they could, trying to influence people, and our Democratic supporting news agencies started pushing their narrative for them. And they would give people like the KKK, who was a failing organization. I mean, they had almost no members and they were failing. And they would give them national attention, and then their numbers started to increase like crazy. So now the KKK's got a lot of people in it again. And then you start having all these other groups start creeping up because of it. And this created this cycle of hate, this political hate. And the thing is, and Trump has been spending this presidency trying to break this cycle, right? And the Democrats are still spewing out the same lies, the same trash that they were spilling out during the, and the actually the news agencies are starting to come around, and because they're losing ratings like crazy, they're losing money, they're bleeding. And so some of them are actually starting to come around and actually be a little supportive of Trump, and saying, and not being as divisive as they have with these lies that they've been spewing out. And Trump's going to continue with that policy. He's going to continue to try to break the cycle, and he's doing it by speaking truth. You have a big political person there in Great Britain, Nigel Farage, who's doing the same thing. He's saying, no, I'm going to speak truth. And his party is actually doing real good in Great Britain right now because he is trying to get behind the wheels of truth, same as Trump. And Charlie Kirk was big on truth, big. And he would give the opposition a platform, a mic, and say, speak your truth. And they would speak, and then Charlie would have to sit there and give them the straight facts of statistics done by independent polls and independent organizations and whatnot, not by conservative organizations, by independent, and he and the people, and so, and a lot of times he was just speaking to the wall because the person that was behind the mic wouldn't listen. They actually would not listen. They were so entrenched in their lies that they heard nothing else but those lies. And people do that. People will get into their own little world, and no matter how much you try to break into that world, they're not going to escape out of that bubble. It takes something drastic to get them to escape out of that bubble. And but you and I know, because we're both worldly people, know that things are not just as black and white as everybody may think that they are, and there's more than two sides to everything. There's three, there's four, there's five. And sometimes you just have to shut up and listen, and actually starting to trust people, and starting to regain your humanity about caring and all. Why get so upset that you go and shoot somebody? I mean, what reasoning is there that's even something that humans should legitimately be able to do? There is no reasoning behind that. It's psychotic.
The way you describe it is how I myself feel. The essence of freedom of expression is to tolerate dissent and learn from it. In fact, what is the point of debate if everyone already agrees? It's illogical to try to silence others if you want to learn. It's actually the politics of ignorance. And the censorship has always struck me as a coward's way, to be honest with you, John. And I have no respect whatever for whoever perpetrated this crime. And whatever their claimed motive, it doesn't work, because Charlie Kirk would have given that person a platform. I don't even know exactly what the situation was on what happened, but that person was so stupid and so ignorant and scared of his or her own position that they'd rather kill others who disagree with them rather than seek to persuade the public. I think that's the thing I'm thinking, John. The land of the free doesn't seem so free if someone like Charlie Kirk is not able to sit on a platform in an institution of learning. Let's remember he was at a college in Utah. And I've tended to think of Utah as a fairly peaceful place. I haven't looked at the crime statistics there, but it's very big on Mormon tradition. And to the best of my knowledge, Mormons aren't traditionally violent people. And now he's been shot down, shot dead, an irrecoverable loss to freedom of expression. Question for you, John. I know you come from a Republican background, but why is it that you feel so strongly that the Democrats are complicit in the culture that's leading to this surge of violence against politicians?
Because, I mean, even Charlie Kirk was a big advocate of that, and he would prove it through his free speech and through the statistics. But he's not the only one. There are a lot of political activists out there who are not Republicans, who are not believers in the Republican Party, but they're still saying the same thing. And in fact, it's been broadcasted on it was on a news event. I can't now, and they come right out and said it was a big news event where they come out and said that and they showed this. Oh, it was on Fox News, and the commentator on there sit there and he literally went back with videos and showed where it all started. And where the lies, the misconception, the misdirection, and that's what the a lot of the leadership in the Democratic Party, and this actually started a little further back, and I read a book way back, and this is when it all basically, and the book covers why all this is happening, and the reason it's happening. And because I did a paper on it also. Well, the president of China, he come out and said in one of his speeches openly, right? And you can still find that speech on YouTube and other places. He said openly that he would try to destroy America from within. And one of the ways that he was going to do it is that he was going to get into the pockets of our congressmen and big CEO companies and stuff like this. Well, and everybody's like, yeah, whatever. But the book I read, it was called Red. Oh man, I can't believe it. But it was called.
It's Red. An age thing, John. Don't blame yourself.
but anyway, it was a really good book. And the person who wrote the book actually went back and showed how, with real proof, not conjecture or opinion, but showed documented proof of where it all began and how each party was taking in money from China, right? And the Democrat Party, about 90% of that party has China in their pocket.
But I don't think you can blame China for the death of Charlie Kirk.
But not the death of Charlie Kirk. That's part of the plan. The Democratic Party, not the death of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's death was because some psychotic got out there and shot him. But that person was influenced by all the craziness that's going on politically.
It's interesting.
As far as that person is concerned, he'd probably just what he learned from his party. I guarantee that he was from the left, but the left party. I find it hard to believe that he's from Utah because normally and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they figure out that he wasn't from Utah. And because Utah is not a kind of state that you'd think something like that would happen in. That really shocked me. But
just a point, I agree with you. Utah has a reputation for great peace. Is it Salt Lake City that Utah has? Salt Lake City's in Utah, isn't it?
Well,
don't worry. I just remember because there was a time. Oh, sorry, I wasn't trying to show you geographically. It's a big country. It's a big country, can't know everything.
Yeah, really big country.
but returning to the question here, I'm going to challenge you on it. I have a lot of respect for China. I did quite a lot of work in China, and I used to find the people very polite, the place very agreeable, the food excellent, and the climate pretty interesting too. But and that was 25 years ago. That was 25 years ago. Wait a minute, John. That was 25, 30 years ago, when China had not progressed even as far as it has now in terms of free market. I don't think you can outsource the blame for what's going on in America to China. And the reason I say that is because China's far too sophisticated to operate in that way. Now, you've put together a theory there. Some could argue it's a conspiracy theory, but it's not one I can buy into, because it seems to me what we saw with the murder of Charlie Kirk and the murder of John F. Kennedy and the murder of his brother, what we're seeing here is a homegrown epidemic of violence. And at the moment, it seems to be worse than ever in recent years.
It's a certain kind of violence. It's political violence. The John F. Kennedy, believe it or not, was shot by the government. But I mean, that was and that's already been uncovered when they released the JFK files. But it was our own government that made that happen. And the reason why was political. It was political reasons, because certain people didn't want certain secrets to get out. JFK was going to bring them out, and he had to go. But Charlie Kirk, I think this guy just wanted to pick the biggest activist he could find that would get him recognition. And, you know, a lot of psychotics, that's the way they do things. They figure they'll get somebody really popular and it'll make them popular. Because I really think that this guy had to be psychotic. And to go on a full campus with all those people and to fire a firearm, there had to be some psychosis to it. He had to be psychotic in some sort of way, and had to have some type of mental disorder. And a lot of those people, when they get into that frame of mind, they think if they take out somebody popular, then it'll make them popular. And so that may have been his motive, but I think that his fuel that drove his engine was a lot of it was fueled by the opposite party. Okay. And Charlie Kirk was definitely a target of the right wing party.
The right wing party,
the left wing party. So he was big on the left. So if you're for the right wing party, of course that would be not good to take out that target. But you know, I have a feeling that this is going to turn Charlie Kirk into a martyr more than anything.
You said a couple of interesting things there. One is you keep saying the perpetrator, was male. Do you know that?
No, I'm just assuming. Okay. But they did say that they did catch him, but they didn't say. There was some confusion. They did not say if it was a he or a she. They just said that suspect, it was in custody.
Okay, yeah, I saw some stories saying that in fact they didn't have the suspect in custody. There was some confusion about that initially, at least. So,
well, the last 5 minutes or so, just before you actually sent me a link to get on with you, I saw a live news report that said that they had.
Okay. Well, that will resolve itself over time. We don't need to do this now. But incidentally, Salt Lake City is, as I suspected, in Utah.
Yes.
Most popular city
I drove through Utah, and the best thing that I remember was the Utah mountains, which are absolutely beautiful. I drove an 18-wheeler through there, and I never got to see any of the cities. I just, I was just going through Utah, so I never really got to see anything. And believe it or not, and I know this may seem sad, but a lot of Americans never ever venture out beyond their state, and they really don't pay attention to many of the other states because we're it's just not something we do. There are a lot that do go on vacation. Me, But that was the biggest exposure I had to the United States, was driving a truck, where I visited over 42 states in a year. And that was, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. But
that's an interesting job, which we can discuss again on a different occasion. I'm told that most Americans don't have passports. I've never known if that's just hearsay, if that's for real.
Hey, it's for real.
Interesting. You're a reasonably well-traveled man yourself, though. And you know that if you come to the United Kingdom, it's exceedingly rare. It does happen, exceedingly rare for somebody to be gunned down. So rare that when it happens, it's almost always on the national news. Not for famous people, just for anybody.
The saddest part about this is that we just had another killing, or a killing before this one, that was also a terrible killing here in the United States, where a Ukrainian refugee got killed on a train, and now Trump had a lot to say about that as well. And now Charlie Kirk, and this, I think this is just you always say life has its ups and downs and ups and downs. And I think this is just a down moment for America right now, an all-time low. It's not going to stay that way, because Trump is doing everything he can to try to prevent these things and to try to change the narrative, the hate narrative. And he's going to continue doing that. So, he's continued to give that message of hope. Even if people who are dead against him don't hear that message, that is the message that he's been giving the American people. And not only is he doing that, he's also giving them hope in their homes, in their pocketbooks. And he did that the last presidency. And that's what made me so daggum angry, is that he never got credit for all the things that he did that put extra money in our pockets. And I know, I was there, and believe me, I got a lot of extra money in my pocket when he was in office, and so did a whole lot of other people, and they never got credit for that. But
let's have a look at Charlie Kirk in action. He was recently in the United Kingdom, and he doesn't think that free speech is doing very well. Have a watch of this.
Quite a week, 20 hours of travel to London, Oxford, Cambridge, and back. I know you're all very disappointed I wasn't arrested, but I tried. I tried my best. I went on one of their biggest news programs, GB News. Yeah, right, GB News. And I said that it's not compatible with Western values, and it went very viral, and it was so funny. The production team afterwards at GB News was like, wow, you said that. I'm like, wow, you guys are so British. You should spend some time in America. Our Overton window has moved a lot. The UK is very important to talk about, not just because what's happening in the UK, but also the ramifications here. Is the UK culturally felt like America before Donald Trump went down the golden escalator. They're in the abyss. But culturally, there is this kind of silent, are we allowed to say this? Are we allowed to challenge this? Are we allowed to talk about this? Are we allowed to question this? And Donald Trump will be in the history books for so many reasons. For isolating the Chinese Communist Party, for shining light on the southern border. But one thing I don't think he gets enough credit for. One thing that I think that gets forgotten in the story of Donald Trump, which, by the way, we are now coming up on a decade of Donald Trump. Next month will be 10 years since he went down the golden escalator. A decade. Complete domination of the Western mind for 10 years. And it's fitting that I went to Oxford and Cambridge and spent time in London before that 10-year mark, because it feels so similar. Because once Donald Trump went down the golden escalator, he gave people permission to speak. He gave people permission to talk. President Trump said things like anchor babies. Remember, President Donald Trump openly ran on a Muslim ban into the United States of America in December of 2015? He said rapists were coming over the border. You couldn't say that. They flipped out. He said that we're being invaded. He said that we're being replaced, and people were losing their mind. But the benefit of what Donald Trump did is he courageously moved that Overton window with force and courage. And people say he's nothing but just narcissistic, overly self-indulgent, but only someone who believes in himself as much as Donald Trump could have moved that Overton window, because the criticisms didn't get to him. He says, no, I'm going to double down on the fact that they're bringing rapists in this country, and I'm tripling down. And he took the slings and the arrows for the rest of us, and he basically created cover fire for millions of people like myself and you to then be able to talk.
What an eloquent man.
Mm-hmm.
What an orator.
Yeah.
Very closely reflecting what you yourself said, John. Lost to the world because of the senseless violence of a total idiot.
Right. And I do want to clear up a point. When I say China, I don't mean Chinese people. I mean the China Communist government. And I'm not, it's not a conspiracy theory. I did a paper in college, a very big paper. It was a final grade for my college portion, like sort of like a dissertation. And I did the research, and it was all done independently through me, through independent groups. And I've got it all documented. And I'll send you that. I'll be happy to send you that document. Your mind will be changed.
I'll have a look at that. I don't want to get too far down that path today. Separately, we can talk about China, Sino-American relations. Yeah. I really want to get back to, I'm not cutting you off. We'll have a whole conversation about that, John. I want to get back to the man on the screen there, because this man here epitomizes free speech. He speaks with an eloquence which is truly uplifting. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Yeah, he was the king of free speech. And the thing is he never, ever did he do it in a way that favored him. He gave the mic to others. He let them speak their truth, whatever it was. And then he spoke his truth. And then they either came to an agreement or they stayed divided. But he told everybody, thank you for what they said when they spoke. And many people sit there and would say nasty things, and he would say, he says, that's all right. But he was really good. He was really good. And it's a shame. I mean, he was bringing out so much truth. And I agree with him. I think Donald Trump gave us that platform. Just like I think your country right now is starving for that platform, because
that's one reason why I've set up Unprecedented TV, because there's a huge vacuum for freedom of expression in the United Kingdom, and I think in much of the Western world, to be honest with you, which is utterly tragic, because the whole point about the Western world was meant to be freedom. But where's it gone? One explanation: the Overton window, which Charlie Kirk was referring to, is in loose terms defined as that breadth, that bandwidth of ideas which are considered acceptable in the mainstream. And what he means is that Donald Trump made it acceptable for people to say things that the woke brigade were trying to make unacceptable. And so that's one reason Donald Trump isn't popular with the lefty wokeists, because he's actually making a whole kind of dialogue. There's no climate crisis, for example. We don't need to have renewables. We shouldn't be sponsoring wars all over the world. All of that becomes acceptable now because Donald Trump has changed the dial, moved the dial on this. It seems to me that Charlie Kirk was doing the same.
And there's a lot of, you just said a word in there that I want to make a point on, and you said woke brigade. And that is way that a lot of people here describe a lot of key leadership in the Democratic Party. And that's why I say what I say, because they are the woke brigade. And Donald Trump is trying to lift the blinders off people's eyes and say, hey, look, it's not the way, that is not the way it is, and I'm glad that Donald Trump did what he did. I'm really glad and appreciative of Charlie Kirk. I know in my heart that he is with his Lord. So and I'm grateful for that. But he's definitely going to be missed by millions, including myself, because I watched his programs every single day, and I'll still watch the reruns, but we're not going to get any new stuff. But yeah, and it's a sad day in the United States when somebody's so free speech, so all about joining the American people together, because that was his mission, was trying to bring the two sides together and talk. And that's what Charlie always said. We need to talk. If you don't talk, you can't fix it. Everybody needs to just stop arguing and start talking. And he did that so eloquently well. And it's just a sad day to lose such a great person.
What happens next? How is this senseless killing in some way vindicated? How is some good made to come out of his murder? No one denies it's a murder.
Well, I think that it's gonna, like I said, I think it will. It will definitely heighten the role that Charlie Kirk played, to the point of even making him infamous, but a martyr, if you will, and that is going to bring a lot more recognition to what Trump's doing. It's going to bring a lot more recognition to the need for our country to heal this political divide that we have, that needs, and it's a huge divide. It's the biggest that it's ever been. And but the remarkable thing is the divide is getting smaller, but not because one party is, the parties are coming together, because people are leaving one party and coming over into the other because they're tired of it. And they're tired of all the bickering and arguing. And that's one of the reasons why Trump won so big, was because a majority of the people that voted for him were previously Democratic, in the Democratic Party. He brought a lot of Democrats came over into the Republican Party. And we've actually, I would like to see an independent party win here in the United States, which has never happened, but I think it happened once. It almost happened, but one time. But I think it happened once, and that was just not by design, but it just happened to happen. And it was very, very beginning of our country. But
it's a difficult day, very difficult time. And
it is. It's very difficult. It's very sad. This is going to be felt for years to come. I mean, because that's how big of an influence that Charlie Kirk was on America and our culture, and he was doing such an outstanding job of trying to bring the two political parties together by giving everybody a voice. He didn't give just those that he favored a voice. He gave everybody a voice, and he did it. He did it with style. He did it with charisma. He did it with diplomacy, and there's no earthly reason in the world why anybody should have a reason to kill Charlie Kirk. So, like I said, the guy was either trying to put himself into some kind of fame, which happens. It's documented that people that are psychotic doing that, or that he was just so entrenched into the small little world of hate that a certain party seems to be spewing. I mean, even that same party spewed that same hate on Nigel Farage when he came over here to the United States just recently to talk in front of our Congress. and the Democrat congressman from Georgia, which I'm very ashamed to say that it was because I'm from Georgia. I mean, he was just outright horrible to Nigel. And I mean, I feel like he should lose his job for the way he treated Nigel. And I mean, this is a dignitary, and he treated him like he was gutter trash. And I would like to see if there's a way to get him out of office and to fire him, that he get fired from his job, because he should have never treated a dignitary the way he treated Nigel on national TV. But I will say that Nigel handled it beautifully. And so, but anyway, like I said, it's a sad time with Charlie Kirk, and it's a lot. And I would say the biggest fault is the political divide that we have in our country right now. And
John, thank you so much for joining us. I sense your emotion on this.
Yeah.
Not an easy day for anyone who believes in free speech. Not an easy time. If you're watching this live, then you might already be anticipating more information, and I do for sure. In the days ahead, we will find out more, and we will return to this and do a follow-up program. Charlie deserves that. I say thank you to you, John Fine, our US political correspondent, joining us on this subject. Have your say. Go to X and please do retweet this if you think what we've been discussing is important. I finish with this thought. This man, Charlie Kirk, was not a man I'd ever met, but quite clearly he was a man of substance, of importance to the world, and more than anything, a man who was trying to do his part to make the world a little bit better. And you don't have to agree with a person to respect their right to do that. He will be desperately missed by his family, but also by those of us who think that free speech is a fundamental right. Charlie Kirk, rest in peace. And we can only hope that some good will come of a killing, which was obviously not necessary, which never needed to happen, and which more than anything might have proved that his campaign for free speech was more important than ever. I'm Lembit Öpik. That was Lembit Öpik Live on Unprecedented TV.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Boring. 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 Boring.
You gotta work. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're gonna feel.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages,